We're going to move on to TNA Impact, and this Thursday night on Spike TV, Saturdays on Bravo. It's yet to air, in fact, here, but we've seen it early. And the results this week looked as follows. We had an 8-man tag. Beer Money Inc. defeated the Motor City Machine Guns and Generation Me, and the World Tag Team Champs, Matt Morgan and Hernandez. We had Sean Morley defeating Jeff Jarrett. This was interesting because Sean Morley has just signed in the past few weeks with TNA Wrestling, and already he's decided to move on, and apparently Mexico is calling for the old Val Venus. It appears like he's gotten a better deal, and maybe he's sniffed out that in this Eric Bischoff Hulk Hogan regime, he might not have that big a place.
I was surprised with the shot for him first time around, to be honest with you. I don't even know why he made it onto that big live Impact on the 4th of January. It was just strange, I think, to see him turn up, because I don't think he was ever anything of importance in the Attitude Era, and it wasn't any big surprise to go, oh my god, Sean Morley's after signing with TNA and he's on live Impact right now, what are we going to do? But no big loss. I think he's better off in Mexico, where he'll make his money as the big star from ex-WWE fame. But no big loss for TNA. I wouldn't imagine Bischoff's anyway concerned about him.
So Sean Morley defeating Jeff Jarrett, and I thought it was interesting that Sean Morley, leaving the territory as he is, went ahead and defeated Jeff Jarrett. I mean, what kind of booking sense does that make?
Terrible booking sense is what it makes. Unless at the time those tapings were done, possibly last week or the week before, that's the only thing I can think of. But I don't think we're going to miss Sean Morley. I'm certainly not going to miss Sean Morley. I would say if it was Jeff Jarrett, yeah, that probably would be last, but definitely not old Val.
That's the end of Sean Morley and his producer days in TNA Wrestling. It looked like they might have been doing that I Spy gimmick that went around the X Division for a while. Maybe somebody somewhere realised that they had already done that, and that's perhaps why Sean felt the writing was on the wall. Always interesting to see those TNA decisions, and to see that perhaps they seem to pick the wrong guys to go over sometimes. You had a few weeks ago Orlando Jordan, he went over the Pope, and it seems like the week after and the weeks that were to follow, they went all out against that decision and decided that the Pope was the man to put over.
Yeah, sometimes the flow of an Impact show can be kind of tough to keep up with what the hell is going on, especially, I know there's a lot of talent on the roster and everyone's trying to get their spot and they're trying to make time for everybody, but sometimes you might go, I think even this week we saw Motor City Machine Guns, which we haven't seen in 2, possibly 3 weeks, I could be wrong, but and like last week with ODB, when was the last time we saw ODB before that? And things just happen and then they turn in a different direction, and it's got to pick up one thing and then it's dropped, and it can be messy at the best of times.
Was the 8-man tag Beer Money and Motor City Machine Guns defeated Generation Me and Matt Morgan Hernandez?
It was Beer Money defeating Motor City, Generation Me, and...
That was right, so what I said was correct.
Yeah.
Fine, I did this great. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I had that right. So, Sean Morley defeating Jeff Jarrett. Now, Rob Terry, he defeated Doug Williams, the two guys from the British Invasion. And Rob Terry, well, he's making a stand and he's trying to not get bullied by the veteran Doug Williams.
It's a snore fest for me. None of them really interest me, I have to say. Why Rob Terry is the global champ is beyond me. Maybe Hogan's a fan because he's a big buff and he looks like a wrestler should. Probably in Hogan's mind, but no, the British Invasion don't really do anything for me. Desmond Wolfe, probably the only British talent worth paying any attention to in TNA and WWE, I think, for that matter.
Later on in the Impact broadcast, Jeff Jarrett defeated Tom Cole, and Tom Cole finally appearing on TV again. He was doing a bit of a run-in gimmick where he was hooded and he attacked various guys around the Impact Zone, and suddenly he just disappeared off TV. It seems like somebody somewhere was wondering exactly what they would do with Tom Cole. They're not the only ones. The WWE, in fact, recently had that same dilemma. They had Tom Cole, apparently, for a little while, and he went out on house shows and never did appear on TV. What is it about Tom Cole that people just can't find anything for him?
I think he has the look, and he can be pretty okay on the mic, but it's still... there's something missing, and I don't know what it is. He's kind of generic, and he reminds me of your typical Smackdown 2006, 2007 kind of roster where you just don't care, you know. I've seen it, yeah, Tom Cole, here he comes, he's big, he's whatever. I don't think anybody just really cares for Tom Cole, to be honest. He's another one lost in the shuffle of the world.
And Tom Cole, of course, was quite noted as being a friend of Christian, and typically wherever Christian went, Tom Cole tended to follow.
Yeah, Christian looking out for his peeps probably
Exactly.
got him in the door. Yeah, I don't think Tom Cole's going to do much in TNA. He's going to go down the Rob Terry path, maybe global champ if anything. Even at that, does anyone really care? I don't.
You'd wonder. Now, the big build for the Monday night show is on, and TNA Impact is going live, at least this week on Monday. Following that, they're going to be one way or the other on the TV, on Spike TV, on Monday nights. We don't quite know if every week is going to be live. They've been quoted as saying every other week will be live. Still, no clearer on exactly when TNA Impact will be live. I would personally like to see it go live every week. The excitement and the tension and the build is really there for all of the Impact audience, and indeed the viewer alike. Now, we did speak that it's building to that massive Monday night show as that Monday Night War continues, and the main event that was being, touted for a while was Hogan v Flair. Things have changed a bit there.
Yeah, we're going down a tag team route, as it seems, with Hogan and Abyss to take on Flair and AJ. And what, it'll draw. I think having Hogan and Flair back in the ring, I know Hogan was on Fox News, I think, and
yeah,
it was interesting to see how still in today's world the presenters will sneer and look down upon the wrestling business. Just kind of interesting to watch that 5-minute clip. You can see it on YouTube there, I think. But yeah, it's going to be, they need to pull out some heavy stuff for this one, I think, more so than the January 4th one, because this is where the real war begins every Monday night. And I don't think Hogan and Abyss against Flair and AJ is the biggest draw on the planet, but again, Abyssomania.
It certainly seemed like it was a swerve just a few weeks ago when they started mentioning Hogan versus Flair, perhaps to get that audience attention centered on them, that people then realized that it was going to be that famous matchup which we've all seen a few times before, and now it looked like that was going to happen. But then at the end of the Impact, we discovered that, as Stephen mentioned there, that tag team match is now going ahead. Maybe that was the plan all along.
Yeah, I just don't think Hogan, and he knows he can't work. Even what was interesting at the end of Impact was when the security came in and Hogan was firing punches left and right. He looked, even throwing punches, he looked past it, he looked weak. And it's, even when the bandana comes off, you can forget about it. But to see Flair and Hogan in the ring next week, I think it's going to turn people off more than turn them on to the TNA product when people as great as they were in their prime are I would say pretty much